What's up, Block fam? Today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you guys about something that I've received a request to make a video on for a while, and that is motorcycle anti-theft options. A while back, I made a video actually on this bike here, which is my Ocoee Iron, talking about a disc brake lock that had an alarm built into it. I still have that same disc brake lock to this day. It works, but I wanted to kind of go over a couple of different motorcycle theft preventative measures that you guys can do. The reason that I want to get around to making this video is because this company, Invoxia, actually got a hold of me and they were like, hey, we'd love for you to check out this GPS tracker for cars, motorcycles, bikes, people, and valuables. So I've actually got a GPS tracker installed on my Softail Goldzilla, and it was incredibly expensive. Kind of sucks that it costs so much. And so whenever they talked to me and they were like, yeah, this is the product, really small, like very manageable, battery life is really good, they told me what the cost of it was. I was like, dude, yeah, I paid for that one, the install on that one, and then the yearly subscription fee isn't that bad, but something like this makes it way more affordable for everybody. So this is one of the options I'm going to talk to you guys about. We're going to go ahead and roll the intro, and then we'll unbox, install this thing on my 2021 Yamaha MT-09 SP. We'll basically see how it works, kind of do a demonstration of this if you guys are interested. I'll be sure to link it down below. But then we're also going to be talking about other anti-theft options for motorcycles while we go for a ride. So roll intro, let's get into it. All right, so one of your motorcycle anti-theft options, it's not going to stop the theft of it, but if it does get stolen, you're going to be able to see where it is as long as the tracker stays on the motorcycle or has battery, all that stuff. So this episode brought to you guys in part by Invoxia here. Like I said, I'll be sure to drop the link down in the description below. So this is a cellular GPS tracker for cars, motorcycles, bikes, people, and valuables. It has anti-theft alert. 1-year data plan is actually included. The cost of this, can't quite remember it right now. I'll put it on the screen right there. It's incredibly cheap to purchase it, and then the year plan, after you have to renew it, also very affordable. So it's pretty crazy because this thing has a chip built into it, so like a 4G LTE-M network, so basically like has cellular ability, so it'll track it anywhere. Long battery life, up to 4 months per charge, which is pretty crazy, and then no hidden fees. It's a 1-year subscription included when you buy it, and then like I said, no hidden fees. You pay the yearly after that. It does have an app that you use, which I'm going to have to download here in a minute, so 24/7 monitoring in a dedicated app, real-time anti-theft alerts, and custom geofencing alerts. So if you want to set a boundary around the bike just to see if it's moved for it to alert you, you can do that too. So this thing is, it looks like a little USB dongle. Pretty crazy. That's it. That's pretty nuts. Alright, so comes with a little USB piece on the back. That is it right there. How crazy is that? And then it comes with instructions. Step 1, charge the tracker using the provided USB cable. So I've already charged it. Step 2, download the app. Step 3, launch the app. And step 4, start tracking your belongings. So we're going to do all that. All right, so it says to plug it in to initiate the tracking and connectivity with the app, but I actually just picked it up and it noticed it. Like I said, I did charge it earlier. So we're going to go ahead and start setup. Region the GPS tracker will be in, yes, United States. Motorcycle. Who will use this vehicle? Pretty much only me. Activate anti-theft alerts to be notified in the event of tampering or tilting. Yeah, we'll go ahead and activate it. Registering. That's crazy. Like, that's the size of it. It's so small. Awesome. It legit looks like a USB dongle, so like even if your motorcycle were to be stolen, I doubt they would even know what they're looking at. Update in progress. Setup. That's pretty easy. Tracker. I'm just going to name it MT-09 SP. See the history of your tracker's past movements. Authorize location for an optimal experience with your GPS tracker. This will help to guide you to your tracker and enhance battery life whenever. Yeah. You can change how often your tracker sends its location while moving. A higher tracking frequency will yield more precise tracking paths, but a shorter battery life. So if you have it longer battery life, it's going to send its location less often, whatever balance you want there. Your tracker sends its position with a precision up to a few dozen yards. The proximity radar will guide you step by step over the last few feet. That's cool. Define safe zones such as your home or workplace. Set up alerts to be notified as soon as your tracker enters or leaves one of these zones. Yeah, I'll do notifications. Allow. That was super simple. Went a lot faster than I thought it would, to be honest. Invoxia is actually offering 2 free trackers that we're going to put on the giveaway bikes for season 6. So this Harley-Davidson Road Glide here, we are giving away for season 6 as part of the Blockhead bike giveaway. We're going to customize it into a performance Road Glide, and Invoxia has volunteered to include their tracker for the winners. So whoever wins the bike also gets a GPS tracker included. And then we're also doing the RC51. Whoever wins the RC51 also gets a GPS tracker included with the bike. So pretty cool of Invoxia. Thank you guys, I really appreciate that. If you guys are interested in getting in on the giveaways, check out blockheadmoto.com, head over there, sign up, select a tier, and you're entered. You also get exclusive access to our Discord server, you get exclusive discounts, you get early access to episodes, and more. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on the bike somewhere here, and we'll get to moving. Let's do one of these transitions where we just... All right, on the road, guys, and we're gonna pull over at this park up here and check in on the app. It has already sent me a notification. It's working. It's detecting movement. Let's check out the tracking on this thing. All right, there we go, guys. Yeah, it's tracking me. Actually has a battery life down here, which is pretty cool. So it pinged basically whenever I got into the park. That's neat. If we go to settings, we are able to change a couple of the things. So we've got proximity radar. If we were to use that, it would basically like beep or whatever. You could go into the app, put on standby if you're not looking to track while you're riding it. You've got your different update rates, which I did change. So you've got an update rate of high, which is every 5 to 7 minutes, standard every 10 to 12 minutes, and low every 30 to 32 minutes. And the cool thing is it actually tells you the battery life based on those update rates. So on high, it'll last 4 days to 2 weeks. On standard, it'll last 9 days to 3 weeks. It's a pretty big range. And then on low, it'll last 3 weeks to 7 weeks. So I did on high just for the video, but I'll probably adjust that. Then you've got your notification settings. You can notify in the event of a significant journey. So I guess if it's like a long ways away. And then you've got the customization of zone alerts, but you can do your geofencing, important places. And then you've got your advanced settings. So tracker logs, time zone, firmware, check in there if you need to update all that stuff. And then history of positions there at the bottom. Thus far, working, all good. It's definitely tracking me. Came to this park. I like that it tells you the battery life. We're going to leave it as is pretty much for now. And then, yeah, we're going to ride for a little bit. Before I do ride too much further, though, I did want to kind of mention a couple of the other anti-theft options. The motorcycle actually comes with some of them built in to deter people from just like, you know, putting your bike up and rolling it. So right now I have the bike in neutral. So pretty much can be rolled back and forth. If somebody were to come up, get the bike, push it up, they could roll it anywhere they wanted. And with it in neutral, they could also grab the bars and turn it wherever they wanted. So if they wanted to load it in the back of a van or something, they could do that. I guess it is worth saying too, though, that if somebody wants to steal your motorcycle and they are determined enough, there's not really a lot that you can do to stop them. So I will say the best thing to have for your motorcycle if you're worried about theft is insurance. Get insurance on your motorcycle just in case it does get stolen. That way you are not out the cost of the motorcycle and insurance will cover you. That's, in my opinion, the smartest. Not a lot of people like that answer, but it's why insurance is there, just in case. Most motorcycles have what they call fork locks. So you can basically lock the bars all the way to the left, take the key, press in, you turn it left, and you can take the key out. Now there is a little thing right there that says lock. So what that does is it keeps you from being able to turn the bars left or right. They are locked right there. So even if the bike's in neutral, it's going to make it much more difficult for somebody to move around, right? The downside is people can bend the fork locks. So that is not a end-all option. It's going to make it more difficult, but I've totally seen videos of people taking the bars and just slamming them to the right, and they bend that fork lock, and then they can pretty much move them wherever. Additionally, I don't even know if I should be showing you guys this, but on the kickstand like that, you can pretty much pivot the bike and move it wherever you want. So if you've got room, if the thief has room around it, you can pretty much move it wherever he wants. You also should not leave your bike in neutral. You should leave it in first gear. So click down. That way it stops. The thief will not be able to freely move it back and forth. But if they're stealing a motorcycle, they probably know what they're doing and they can just grab onto your clutch lever, throw it into neutral, and then they can move it back and forth. No problem. One of those options that I did mention while I was in the garage there was disc brake locks. So disc brake locks basically go over your disc brakes, so your rotors here, and they lock onto them. So if the person tries moving the bike forward or backwards, it won't roll because that disc brake will basically roll around with the rotor and it'll hit the fork, so it stops it from rolling. Now you do have normal disc brake locks that are just the locks, but then you also have some with an alarm built in. There's pros and cons to those. Some people say that they're really easy to take off. Some people say they break easily. It's a whole mixed bag of opinions. The ones that I've used, I've never had any issue with, and that's the ones with the alarms built in. I'll be sure to drop links to those all down in the description below. That is a pretty good deterrent because the person can't just roll it, and it's definitely a pain. And if they're going to cut it off, like, it's going to make noise if they bring out like a grinding wheel or an angle grinder or something like that to try and cut off a disc brake lock. The alternative is they could bring tools to like somehow remove it, cut it, remove your wheel, but if they're going to these lengths, once again, like, you can only do things to make it more inconvenient for somebody to steal your bike. I would say the best thing to do to not have a motorcycle stolen, store it properly. So like have a garage or something that has like surveillance or an alarm built onto it, you know, like in your house, or store it in your house. And it also depends on the bike. Like cruisers, I feel like aren't stolen as much as sport bikes. I hear about sport bikes being stolen all the time. So for me, with the MT-09, it's a lightweight bike. It's easy to basically pick up and go. Whereas Harley's a lot heavier. I mean, people just aren't stealing them as much to part them out. All right, guys, let's get back on the bike, go ride. So yeah, another one is to install a motorcycle alarm, which, you know, if the motorcycle is moved, it'll go off, causing a lot of attention. Basically the same as like a car alarm. So it's like, wee-oo, wee-oo. You guys know what I'm talking about, those alarm sounds.
Oh, I'm a car. Gas only makes me run.
It's another deterrent, but once again, it's not going to totally stop a thief from taking the bike. Dude, I was in Miami one time along the strip on South Beach, and I legit saw this white van roll up. Two guys got out of it, picked up a Busa off the side of the freaking road that was parked, and this is like broad daylight. Opened the back doors of this like box van, didn't have any windows, it was just like a white unmarked van. Picked the bike up and put it in the back and closed the doors and drove away. I was like, yo, well, I had no idea what was happening because it happened so quickly. So yeah, another deterrent is to actually chain the bike to something that is not movable. There was one point which I lived in a third-story apartment and I didn't have a garage, so I pretty much had to park my bike outside. And what I did was I put the disc brake lock on it, I put a cover on it so that people couldn't see what it was. I parked it in front of my truck, so you know it wasn't just like visible out in the open. So whatever you have to do to like get it out of sight so that people aren't like looking at it, you know, potential thieves are seeing it and being like, ooh, there's a bike that I could lift. You want to park it somewhere that's like safe. So if that's in like your apartment complex or whatever it may be, if you're in a parking garage, I know a lot of bikes get picked up or stolen from parking garages. Even if they're gated, you know, people manage to get past the gates, tailgating other residents possibly. And since people in parking garages don't think like, oh, nobody's going to come in here that doesn't live here, that's not true. We had a lot of motorcycles get stolen here in Orlando in downtown like a year or so ago, and people were getting them stolen from gated parking garages. Because it's behind a gate, people think, oh, like I don't have to put a disc brake lock on it, I don't have to chain it up, I don't have to have any like theft deterrent. And the thieves know that. They're like, you know, it's not going to be all locked down because they think they're safe, and so they end up getting in there and they steal these bikes. And a lot of times they just roll them away. It's kind of crazy. I mean, these guys really know what they're doing. But yeah, there's companies that actually sell these lag bolts that you can pretty much like put into the ground with chains that will go around your bike. You can do stuff like just around the wheel. I mean, if possible, like through the frame, that would probably be the best bet. But once again, I feel like for every one of these I've got like a but once again. And I'm not trying to be like, you know, a Debbie Downer whenever I say but once again. If a thief really wants it, they can still get it. I mean, bolt cutters exist. Thieves are able to cut through big thick chains too if they want to, but once again it makes it inconvenient. So you're looking to make this as inconvenient for somebody that would potentially be trying to steal your bike as possible. So if you want to basically like chain it to something, put an alarm on it, put a tracker on it, like you can go to the nines with your options for making your motorcycle like anti-theft. Even with the GPS tracker, bikes get stolen. And one of the things that I actually heard from a person that's in the industry, actually I think I heard it from an officer, was that a lot of the times what thieves will do is whenever they're targeting a bike is they'll actually, once they've got the bike and they've stolen it, they'll take it to like an empty lot like a mile or two away, or like try to find some place that they can park it, and they'll park the bike and they'll leave it there because they don't know whenever they first steal the bike if there's a GPS tracker built into it, right? And so what they'll do is they'll park it and they'll leave it there and they'll watch it. And if anybody comes by and is like, oh, like here's my bike, you know, somebody stole it but they left it here, that's like a test for them because they don't want to take the bike and take it to wherever their warehouse is where they're stripping it down and like selling off parts or whatever and, you know, get found out. Just kind of, once again, smart of them. Yeah, obviously at that point, if that were to happen to you and you go to this lot and you're like, oh, here's my bike, just got stolen, like just wound up in this lot a couple miles away. That's what the thieves are doing, is they're seeing if you have GPS installed. And if you do, you know where the bike is, you go to pick it up, then they now know that your bike has GPS installed. Now I have heard a lot of times of them being able to go through a bike and finding these GPS units as well, and then just basically throwing them on the side of the road, and then you show up and you're like, oh, here's my GPS unit. Let's turn into here, get under this big old metal underpass thing, see if it is able to still give me signal. You've got a ton of power lines over here. You've got pretty much a road, an entire bridge, 2 bridges above us with these big metal beams, so lots of opportunity for blocking the signal. Let's see what we got. All right, looking at the app here, guys, it has me pinpointed directly underneath this highway. So yeah, it's emitting signal. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly where I am. Cool, man, it's working. I like it. So another anti-theft measure that you can take is to install a kill switch onto your motorcycle. So once again, it's a deterrent. It's not gonna stop somebody from totally taking the bike. If they're somehow able to get it started, like go around your ignition system, if they don't know where the kill switch is, they're not gonna be able to get it going. They also do have ignition locks, so you can lock your ignition so that they can't basically like roll it somehow. You can hide your ignitions. I know a lot of the newer bikes, especially, they've got key fobs. I'm actually just kind of surprised like that the Yamaha hasn't gone over to that, and the bike basically has to detect the fob in order to start up. Or if your fob batteries die, there's a backup to where you can basically put a pin in the bike and it'll start. I know Harley-Davidson has that. You know, you want to park it in somewhere that's going to be safe. It's not just, you know, somebody's going to show up and be like, oh, there's a free motorcycle just chilling on the side of the road. If I were to park a bike like right here along an incredibly busy road, I don't expect that bike's gonna last for very long. This GPS tracker unit lets you know if there's movement on the bike, and then the other GPS tracker unit that I have, it's actually from a company called Finn, which connects to the bike, which is nice because it actually recharges based on the battery power of the motorcycle. This one you have to remove and like recharge it, which has its own set of conveniences. I can take this tracker and I can put it on the bike. I can put it on like a different bike if I wanted to. I could put it like in my truck. Say if I'm like parking my truck somewhere for an extended period of time, I would probably definitely put it in the truck just to make sure, you know. But most of it is, like I said, it's just making it really inconvenient for if somebody's trying to steal your motorcycle. And then having that GPS tracker is really nice because you're able to be like alerted to the fact that like, oh, somebody is tampering with my bike. It's up to you guys to basically find kind of where in the motorcycle that you want to hide this thing. I'm definitely gonna work securing it in a pretty good location that's not easily visible or findable, and I'll be sure to drop the links to all of this stuff that I'm talking about down in the description below. So if you guys want to buy any of it, like the Invoxia GPS tracker, I'll link down to that. Disc brake locks, the chains, the bolts that you put into the ground, like to secure your bike to the ground or like a fixed object, I'll link all that stuff. All right, guys, there you go. Those are some motorcycle anti-theft options. I hope the list has been helpful. My biggest recommendations, honestly, like I keep on kind of saying it, but I'm trying to be realistic. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but like if somebody wants to steal your bike, if there's a thief out there and they've done the research and they've been watching you, it's up to you to basically make it, you know, as difficult as possible. Store it in a safe place. So like a garage or your house is going to be the best option. I understand that doesn't work for everybody. Like I said, I used to live on third floor apartments and I didn't have a garage at the time either. I basically had to put it in front of my car. I put a disc brake lock on it. I put a cover over the top of it so that people couldn't see it. And so there are things that you can do depending on what your situation is. Now I've got a garage. That garage has surveillance. The garage has an alarm system. So I feel safer parking my bikes and having them in the garage. It pisses me off so much that somebody would take something that is not theirs, that they have not worked hard for. Grinds my gears that anybody would feel that entitled. Like, stop putting so much effort into taking things that aren't yours and put in some hard work towards something else so that you can earn it just like that person had to do. Anyways, getting off track there. If y'all have any questions on any of this stuff, be sure to drop your questions down in the comment section below. Let me know. Links to everything down in the description below. Big thanks to Invoxia once again for the GPS unit. And like I said, they're also giving 2 of these GPS units away to the winners of season 6 for the Blockhead bike giveaway. So the Performance Bagger and the Honda RC51 that we're giving away, those winners are also going to get some of these GPS trackers from Invoxia. So really appreciate that. If you guys are interested in joining in on that, head over blockheadmoto.com, join the site, select a tier level, sign up for that tier level, and you are entered for the giveaway. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope this episode was insightful. If it was, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button as well. Hit the bell icon while you're over there so it sends you notifications of future uploads and activity. Until next time, ride safe, stay vigilant. We got that somewhere on here. There it is. Ride safe, stay vigilant. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.